Welcome to Bedtime Confessions. Today's topic is committing to yourself takes sacrifice. And you might be like, what do you mean by that? And I mean that putting yourself first sometimes is not easy. But I'll tell you why you need to make that a priority and why you might be stopping yourself from actually moving forward and actually committing to yourself. Because sometimes, especially my people pleasers, we might put everyone else in front of us and we don't have anything else left for us. So it's time to change. It's time to realize why you need to commit to yourself, because it will make your life easier, other people's life easier, everyone's life easier. That's it. That's all I have to say. When you want to start committing to yourself, you need to sacrifice whatever is holding you back. Whether it's an environment, whether it's people, whether it's situations, habits, anything that's holding you back and anchoring you into the person that you're right now that you're not happy about. Because if you try to change while dragging those anchors and those weights with you, it will make your life so much harder and you will want to give up. You will feel like, I can't do this, it's too heavy, I'm like so tired, I'm so exhausted, and then you just give up because you're like, well, I give it a try, but it's not working. But that's the problem. Have you ever heard that quote of like, you can't change in the environment that created you? Because if you are a product of an environment and you are in that environment and the person that you became from that you're not happy with, then how can you expect that environment to help you change into another person? Because that environment has the people, has the objects, the place, the settings, whatever, that created the person that you're not happy with. And if you change within that environment, yes, it's possible. But it will be very hard to be a new person around people that don't want you to evolve. So when you're in a position where you can change your environment, change the people around you, I'm not saying cutting ties. I'm just saying like removing yourself from so much influence from those people that are holding you back. Because if it's family, like of course we don't want to cut the ties with our family because they're maybe important to you, right? So instead of cutting ties or deciding like I'm never gonna talk to you, no, like maintain that relationship, but then like remove the influence that it has on your choices, on your lifestyle, on your decisions, whatever. And decide to build yourself out of that environment, out of that family environment, out of the house setting, whatever. Another very important factor when it comes to romance and committing to yourself to become a better person is you need to let go of the potential of hopes of a romantic partner potentially changing, or the hope of a future commitment with someone that doesn't really want to commit right now, because that hope will drag you down. Oh my gosh, it will drag you down. And I talk from experience. You don't have time to wait around for people to be ready. I'm not saying like don't give them a chance like later in the future, but until they change or until they're ready to give you what you want, just live your life. Live your life, grow, improve yourself. And then when they're ready and they want to come back, they'll come back. And then you decide at that moment if you want them back or if you don't want them back. Because maybe in a few months, you'll realize like, yeah, actually didn't want that person because they were just dragging me down and I enjoyed that misery, or I enjoyed what they were giving me at the time, but I'm not that person anymore. So that's a big step, is sacrificing everything that are holding you down, even if they're giving you something comfortable, some validation, attention, whatever it is, but you're not moving forward. If you're not moving forward, let them go. Sever the ties in some way and then start growing. Start prioritizing yourself and start committing to the person that you want to become. Another huge part about committing to yourself is stop with the excuses. Let me repeat myself again because this is very important and I want you to listen. Stop with the excuses. The excuses don't help anyone. Anyone, not even yourself. You're just giving yourself some very short peace of mind that you are somewhat the victim of something and that you can't do something because apparently it's too hard for you. Why? Why would you excuse yourself from your dream life, from the goals that you want to achieve, from actually being happy in life? Stop with the excuses. Like, if you want a video on how to get rid of victim mindset, I have a video on that. So please check that out, because being a victim is not, you shouldn't be proud of it. You should not want it for yourself. I wouldn't wish it on anyone, because it's a hard mindset to get out of. You need to just stop with the compassion sometimes. Sometimes I think we give each other too much grace, where it's like we're basically babying ourselves and protecting ourselves from the discipline, the hard work that we need to put into ourselves. Get out of that blanket of comfort and just start reaching your goals and committing to yourself. Because nobody else is going to tell you to. You could not make me believe in myself. If you don't believe in yourself, how can you expect someone else to believe in you or to make you believe in yourself? That's just crazy to me. So start committing and start believing in yourself that you can actually create a life that you want, because you can. Because I'm not saying everything is easy. Everything is somewhat simple, because it takes one decision after the other and after another to get where you want. Any habit is a succession of decision and of committing to yourself. Any relationship takes time and effort in committing to that relationship. Anything that you want to build or that has been built on this earth is a series of decisions and of tasks, and it's just step by step. So first, commit to yourself and keep committing to yourself every single day towards the person that you want to be, because it's possible. Honestly, I think this is the simplest thing you can do in your personal growth journey, or if you're at rock bottom, is to decide that you need to commit to yourself. Because once you commit to yourself and you have that blind faith that you're going to figure it out, and you don't compromise on who you want to be and your boundaries and your goals, then that's when things change. Because then your brain knows that anything that goes against it, it's not acceptable. You need to stop with the excuses. You need to remove everything that's not moving you forward and that's going against committing to yourself. Because if you don't have yourself, if you don't have your own back, it's game over. At this point, don't even try. Because why would your brain trust you? So again, stop with the excuses and commit to yourself. Because nobody else is going to commit to you if you don't commit to yourself. If you don't commit to yourself, if you're not even able to know what you want for yourself, then it's a big red flag that you need to work on. Because then you're directionless. And that's just scary. Would you want to be out in sea? There's nothing. Just sea. And then you don't have a map. You have no idea where you're going. And then you're just lost. Can you feel how horrible that feeling would feel? That's exactly what you're doing when you're not committing to yourself. And I'm not saying you have to have the whole thing mapped out, planned out. No. I'm just saying that you have somewhat of an idea of who you want to be and what you want to accomplish in this life. It could be just the smallest goal. It doesn't have to be I want a career in this and this field. No. It's just you could be I want to build a family. Or I want to be happy. That could be the goal. I want to be happy. But at least you have a direction. And that direction is being happy. And that means that every day when you wake up and you commit to yourself, then that commitment is to make yourself happy. Simple as that. So commit to yourself, guys. Commit to yourself, please. Committing to yourself and building that iron mindset of just putting yourself first is a muscle and a habit. So you need to practice it and you need to have tunnel vision about it. You need to be so determined to create the life that you want that nothing else could pivot you into another direction. You need to be so committed to yourself. It's literally having a relationship with yourself. When you commit to another person in a relationship, in a friendship, or in family, then you stick to that commitment. You're loyal. You trust that commitment, right? So have that for yourself. Commit to your promises. Trust that you're going to figure it out, that you're going to be loyal to yourself and not let yourself down. And that commitment takes practice. That means that every day you wake up, every day, every decision has to be aligned with that commitment to yourself. Because okay, sometimes you might falter. We're not perfect, guys, here. And I'm not asking for 100%. I'm just asking that 90% of the time you're choosing what's right for you. Because that's how you're going to build a fulfilling life. And you're going to say like, oh, but isn't that selfish to always prioritize myself? Yes and no. Sometimes there's some situation where you shouldn't be selfish. But the thing is, you being selfish makes it less selfish for other people. Let me put it this way. If I'm being selfish and I decide that I will commit to being the healthiest person on earth, then I will be healthy. Therefore, I'm going to be happy because I have my health. And then being happy means I'm more enjoyable to be around. And then my family, friends, everyone's going to benefit from me committing to myself in the first place. It is selfish to want to commit to myself and not listen to anyone else or not commit to other people's expectations. But being selfish like that will help me be more enjoyable to be around, and it will be selfless to other people. That makes sense. I don't know if you followed the flow of that thinking, but I think that when you do commit to yourself, it's not selfish. You'll be so much happier and everyone will benefit from that. So yes, technically saying like, oh, I'm committing to myself sounds selfish, but the outcome will be selfless. And then the last thing I want to bring up when you need to commit to yourself is that please do not shut out the world. I know that sometimes when we think, okay, I'm going to commit to myself for these next, I don't know, like month, and I'm just going to like go all in. Sometimes it's very tempting to just focus blindly and not preserve the life that you have around you. And sometimes it's necessary, like if you're not in a good environment and you can't thrive in where you are, then maybe yes, isolating yourself and just committing to yourself fully until you're ready to go back into the world might be a possibility. But the thing is, if you don't want that, please don't shut yourself from the world. Because the relationship that you have right now, the people, the friends, the family, the romantic partners that you have, they deserve to be a part of your life, especially if they've been there for a while or they've supported you. Because if you shut yourself out from those people and you don't cultivate and nurture those people, then by the end of your transformation or when you're actually happy and ready to step back into the world, nobody's going to be there. Because people are not going to wait around. If you don't nurture a friendship or a dynamic, like, why would those people stick around? I wouldn't stick around. Like, yes, I would support my friend, or I would be happy that they're going through that they're finally going through transformation and they're making themselves happier by doing so. But the thing is, if I'm your friend, like I kind of still want to be a part of your life. But if you shut me out and you isolate me fully, then I'll get hurt. And to be honest, because I have self-respect for myself, I'm not going to stick around. So when you do reach out again, I might be like, I'm glad that you're ready. But the thing is, like, I've been wanting to talk to you for these past few months, but you weren't able to, like, give me some time or effort or anything. And I felt hurt, and I don't want to be friends with someone that's willing to shut me out for a few months until they're ready to speak again. Because I just think that's not fair in general. So when you're committing to yourself, it doesn't mean that you're shutting out the world. It just means that every decision that you're making is leading you towards where you want to be. But that doesn't mean cutting everyone out. It doesn't mean like putting yourself in a bubble and then transform and then come out. Like, you're not a butterfly. You're not trying to build a cocoon and then, like, you're basically trying to develop a mindset where everything that you're doing has to be aligned with the person that you want to be, and that when you have temptations that are gonna try to dissuade you from that path of who you want to become, that's when you have to commit to yourself and be like, no, I don't want to eat that sugar because I don't want to be that person. Or, no, I want to stick to my sleep schedule because I need that to be the person I want to become. Or when someone suggests doing something that, okay, let's say for example, I don't smoke, but let's say I was a smoker and I was trying to quit smoking and I want to commit to myself that I'm going to quit smoking. And then someone offers me a cigarette. I'm like, I'm sorry, I can't. I don't want to. I'm not that person anymore. I'm not going to smoke. That's when you commit to yourself. It's when you have things presented to you that will challenge the person that you're trying to become, and you have to say no. Basically, you have to set new boundaries of who you want to become and not let anyone or anything cross those boundaries, because you're committing to yourself and committing to the person that you're trying to become. That's what committing to yourself means. It means that you're developing a new identity of a person that you want to become, and you're committing yourself to respecting that, to respecting the habits, the boundaries, the limitations that new identity has, because you want to be that person. It doesn't mean cutting yourself out of the world and shutting everyone else and just becoming a new person and then opening yourself up to the world. No, because we live in a social community. We need the people around us. That transformation will take a lot of effort, and you need that support. So ask for that support and let that support help you. And then by the end of your transformation, you will still have all those people, and it'll be so much fun, because then they'll also be there to help you, and they'll also be so happy for you because they've seen your transformation from day 1 to day 100, you know? So instead of shutting people out, just let them in. And yes, maybe don't spend as much attention or time on them, because you're trying to focus on yourself, especially if you're trying to build new habits like going to the gym or stuff like that. Like, it's fine, but as long as you're still nurturing those relationships so that by the end of it they're still healthy, that's what matters. So commit to yourself, but don't shut out the world, because it will not do anyone any favor. And it's all about communication, you know? Like, when you start prioritizing yourself, sometimes some people might think, oh, she's being selfish, she's not willing to do things that we used to do anymore. Just explain to them that you're trying to become a better person and that you're trying to be someone that you always dreamed of, and then they will understand, and then they might hold you accountable for it. They might help you. It's all about communication, you know? So I hope it was clear about how to commit to yourself, because you need to. Because if you're not the person committing to yourself, how can anyone else commit to yourself? How can you let anyone commit to yourself when you can't even commit to the person that you want to become? It's hard. I know it's hard, especially when there's temptation, when there's other people influencing you, when you see everyone else indulge in things that you want to indulge as well. But the price of that sacrifice is so worth it. When you can become the person that you always wanted to become, Lord, is it easy. It's so easy once you start committing to yourself to keep committing to yourself, because it's a muscle. It's a muscle that you need to practice every day, and it grows stronger and stronger each day. So build that muscle, because let me tell you, it's so much easier. It will make your life easier, everyone else's life easier, the world's life easier. So please commit to yourself for your own sake. And so I'm going to leave you at that. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode of Bedtime Confession, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.